Wisdom of Solomon 2:10. Let us oppress the poor righteous man. Let us not spare the widow, nor reverence the ancient gray hairs of the aged. Let our strength be the law of justice. For that which is feeble is found to be nothing worth. Therefore let us lie in wait for righteousness, because he is not Salakia. Therefore let us wait for the righteous, because he is not for our turn, and he is clean contrary to our doings. He upbraideth us with our offending of the law, and objective to our infamy, the transgressions of our education. Call halal Yahweh Bahasham, Yahushai Bahasham, Rekahak Wadash. Double honors into the apostles, double honors into the elder bishops. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so now more so than ever. The would-be judges that are going to rule over this earth in the stead of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, that Yahweh Shai is going to set up to be the judges here on earth to enforce the law of the Bible on earth as it is in heaven. No more alphabet lifestyles, no more women over the men, no more nation governments. There will be one government, that will be the government of heaven, and the body, the house of David, that will be the judges, the immortal judges that will rule this earth forever. This is what has Esau Edom so angry and showing his racist hatred. He wants the birthright back. Okay? And to the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled bird, the Israelite foreigners, among the heathen nations that have the appearance of the heathen nations. This is not a black only thing, for the Israelites are scattered among all people. Some of us are going to come looking like even so-called white people. All right, this is not a black only thing. Okay, and to the few Akwaf sisters that are listening and learning to you, I say Shalom. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Chicago, coming at you with another crucial lesson in truth on the Critical Race Historical Facts channel. And I got quite a few videos lined up. The water to the beloved, my beloved April O'Neil, Shalom. And to this mighty brother with his mighty works, the Arrows of Indignations. He's become like my latest tag team partner. Matter of truth be said, I tag team with all of the brothers for that matter. All right, but crucial information that's relevant to prophecy and that's relevant to what's going on right now. And anyone that's speaking not according to prophecy is the things that Yahweh Shai said. They're, people who are denying Jacob's trouble, saying that it was in the past. The Lord, Jacob's trouble precedes the return of the Lord. There's always some unlearned Johnny come late and he woke up yesterday person that want to open their mouth, or some monetized sellout, clown, this teaching opposite of anything, as long as you're against the Great Millstone, which are the true even the AI told you that. All right, that the most thorough group is concerning prophecy and teaching prophecy are the men of the Great Millstone. So there you go. But this is a real quick Revelation 19:10, and it reads, "And I fell at his feet to worship him. And he said unto me, See thou do it not. I am thy fellow servant, and of thy brethren that have the testimony of Yahweh Shai. Worship God, for the testimony of Yahweh Shai is the spirit of prophecy." So anyone that's not prophesying, coming in the spirit of prophecy, showing you the modern day or the end day events, the latter day events, all right, and their connection to the prophecies of the latter day prophecies. Though that person is not a man of the Lord at all. That's some person operating and perceivably in their own will, but it's really not even their own will. The Lord is making you go off because the Lord doesn't want you. That's why you come against this gospel. So when you're coming against the apostles, the elders, you know, when you're coming against the bishops, when you're coming against me, when you're coming against the men of the Lord, you're not coming against us. You're coming against Yahushua. And that's a fight that you cannot win. You know, that's a really stupid fight to even pick. All right, so the copyright statute has been on the screen the whole time. So it has been declared. So without any further ado, let's jump into this thing. Because I have about 5 or 6 videos that I definitely must play.
We are creating concentration camps in different states throughout this country. We are shackling people in chains and putting them in military cargo planes. We have people who are showing up unalive on shores, shackled in just various parts of the world. We have armed people in regular clothes and masks that just simply have ICE agents kind of stamped on their military paraphernalia, literally just snatching people left and right. No paperwork, no nothing, just literally apprehending people and shuffling them away. And we have people dying in federal custody. We have the legislative branch acting like they are completely oblivious to anything that the executive branch chooses to do. We have a piece of legislation that for...
Let's pause it there. All right. The executive branch and the legislative branch and the judicial branch. The Constitution is being violated. I've been telling you for years. All right. It just did. This is not something that just a lot of people been complaining. Oh, he's doing all these. The violation. They've been pushing Title 4D child support since 1993, and it is a complete and total violation of the Constitution because it denies due process. The same thing that they're doing to these people. All right, especially the ones who are in the middle of obtaining citizenship or people that have citizenship. All right, they are denying due process. Perfect example is that The Hague, America. I just watched a video. Well, America is threatening to invade any country that is going to hold a U.S. Citizen, a soldier, or a politician. All right, and that would include, you know, I'm going to assume that also includes B.B. Milkowski, who's going to bring them up on charges of crimes against humanity and war crimes, saying that The Hague has, you know, doesn't have jurisdiction or dominion. But wait a second, Title 4D child support is out of The Hague. You see the hypocrisy? So since they can make money from the fraud through that, you know, and oppress the citizens and the people, all right, you do that. But when genocide and murder, land theft is being committed, all of a sudden there's no jurisdiction. You see the hypocrisy? Okay? Both are out of The Hague. Both are foreign treaties. All right? And according to the law of the land, the U.S. Constitution, it is illegal to place a U.S. citizen under a foreign treaty. Therefore, that makes Title 4D child support completely and totally unconstitutional, but it is enforced in America anyways. So you see the hypocrisy. All right? But you murder women and children and civilians, there's no payment for that.
For God's sake, it's called the Big Beautiful Bill. And that bill is nothing but death on paper. It's just death on paper. I just heard that the President of the United States is now launching a perfume, 45 and 47. The Supreme Court is undermining the U.S. Constitution at every single step, enabling the executive, the Article 2 power of the United States. The executive branch is able to go against schools, against private entities, against law firms, against any organization that they just choose to want to go against is now open game.
And there are a lot of Americans that are getting tired of this and fed up with this, including former and current military. So they really, are pushing this division, and the division is here. The division is here racially. It is here politically, right? And then you're definitely going to have the classes as well. So you're getting ready to have a clash, okay? Because a house divided cannot stand. This is Mark 3:23. And he called them unto him and said unto them in parables, how can Satan cast out Satan? And if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. And if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand. And if Satan rise up against himself and be divided, he cannot stand but have an end. All right, so the thing is that with the pushing of this brutally and openly racist agenda, all right, alligator Alcatraz, all right, well, you should know about the history of the alligator bait babies, the gator babies. Is basically they're making a hint and bringing that mentality and that thought process right back in one of the main places where it was pushed. That was pushed in Florida, in Georgia, all the places the Everglades touch. All right, that sort of thing was happening in some parts of Mississippi because you got gators all through there. Huge ones, 15-foot, 1,000-pound, 700-pound gators, man killers. Okay. Now you're also going to have anacondas and 20, 30 foot, 500-600 pound anacondas swimming in those waters too. Okay. And this is where they want to send migrants to. So I guess all the bodies floating from them being put on the cargo planes and being dropped over the seas. Too many bodies have floated up because you haven't seen any of that covered in the U.S. mainstream media at all. No thorough stories on that at all. They're ignoring it as if they didn't do it, but the evidence is here now.
You have an absolute.
And let's get Daniel 12 and 13. Because that's leading us up to this. 12 and 1. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble. What trouble is that? This is at the end. There shall be a time of trouble, such as never was such as never was since there was a nation, even at the same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, everyone that shall be found written in the book. So Jacob's trouble comes right before the deliverance. That's what's going to make it so bad to a Michael. The Lord is going to send. Michael was created for this moment. He's been waiting to come down here, and the Lord and his angels, Michael and the angels, are going to fight against Satan, the adversary, the human adversary, Esau, Edom, and his allies against their air force. Those are those orbs and those what they're calling UFOs and UAPs. That's where Michael was coming in to destroy the powers of this wicked current earth. And that is the time of Jacob's trouble, which is knocking on the door. Matter of fact, it's kicking the door in.
Rogue DOJ. You have an absolutely rogue executive.
Yep.
We have an absolutely rogue Congress. We have a president who is acting on behalf of another nation and attacking a different nation.
Yep.
With U.S. military force. I don't even know how to end this. Because if you just stopped and wrote everything down, this video would be fucking 4 hours long.
So people are very, very upset that we're acting in behalf of other nations. Okay? Very, very upset. Give you a couple examples. because this is going to be a 2 or 3 part video, because I got a lot of stuff to cover here. Trying to decide which one is first. Well, let's start with this one. Acting on behalf of another nation. Well, here you go.
Let's go back to our 1948 Israel. These are the promises. This is exactly what I've seen in your blogs, and Zach has backed it up somewhat, and it just makes sense to me that this is the covenant for the people to return to the land, the people, and that there would be peace there. But apparently, this doesn't correlate with the 1948.
Not
issue.
at all.
No, not at all. I mean, how many times did we see him, even here, he said, it's conditional. Let me see here. Okay, yeah, chapter 30, verse 1. And when all these things come upon you, the blessing and the curse, which I have set before you, and you call them to mind among the nations where the Lord your God has driven you. So when you're in the diaspora, when you are driven out, and when you wake up and realize, hey, we've gone astray, we've reaped the curses for 2,730 years or more, when you acknowledge that and return to the Lord your God, verse 2, you and your children, and obey his voice in all that I command you today, with all your heart, with all your soul, then Yahuwah your God will restore your fortunes, and have compassion on you, and he, not the Zionists, not the Rothschilds, not the Freemasons, not the United Nations, he will gather you again from all the peoples where Yahuwah your God has scattered.
Yahweh.
It's an if-then. If you do this, then he will do that. Nothing about 1948 fits that. It doesn't fit Jeremiah 23, which says
it doesn't fit anything. And then you can't speak about biblical things and then use the fabricated, fraudulent language that the imposters, he's saying that they don't fit them, but yet he's using the language that they created. He's not using the proper Hebrew, because they lied about that too, because they don't want the real name to be said. All right? It's as plain and simple as that. They do not want the real name to be said. Okay?
Americans will become anti-Israel. You will even see Americans hate Israel like you hate Iran. That's not my opinion. That is a mutually observable fact. In 10 to 20 years,
America doesn't have
American support for Israel
10 to 20 years.
Zero. It'll be zero. The only reason Israel continues to get support in America is because of boomers and people aged older than that. Okay? Once they have no more
all the lobbyists,
power, it's over.
all the
10 to
NGOs.
20 years max before America totally pulls all its support from Israel. Certainly, you realize without America's support, there is no Israel. Americans will become anti-Israel.
Yeah. So without America, there is no Israel, and that's exactly what's about to happen. There's about to be no America. All right, the Lord is getting ready to do away with that. One last video on the subject matter. He said, we have a government that's acting and a president that's acting in the behalf of foreign nations, not to the best interests of the American people, as the American people are suffering, as jobs are going away, as the way of life is dwindling, and spending billions to do this, billions to set up concentration camps and racist prisons that has racial aptitudes from the Jim Crow era, all right? But can't help, you can actually fix America if you just stop sending all this money to these imposters over in the Holy Land.
It's no joke. We live in the United States of Israel. In this country, you can criticize our government or America, no problem. But the minute you criticize Israel, you are labeled an anti-Semite, a terrorist, a radical Islamist. They try to get you fired from your job, blacklist you from having a career at all. They might even file hate crime indictments against you.
Yep.
Oh, and if you want to protest Israel on a college campus, now they're talking about deporting you, revoking your visas. The Trump administration just froze the visa program for international students because they want to screen all current ones to see whether or not they've expressed anti-Israel sentiments, which they label as anti-Semitism, and grounds to deport them out of this country, which they've been doing. They've revoked visas of hundreds of international students who have been critical of the ongoing genocide that Israel is carrying out in partnership with our government here in America. What's happened to this country is horrific. It's very sad. We have so many laws, hundreds, if not thousands of laws in this country, protecting the state of Israel from being criticized for what they are doing. If you want to boycott Israel, you can't work for many of our state governments, let alone the federal government. You can't have contracts with the federal government or state governments. Oh, and don't you dare try changing the system by running as an elected official in Congress. The pro-Israel lobby will swoop in and oust you out of that primary as fast as you can say genocide. Our news outlets, our media figures are not helping at all. In fact, they're part of the problem. Manufacturing consent for war crimes, covering up the genocide, trying to make sure you don't question.
No stories on the bodies washing up.
Country in the world where it is illegal to criticize a foreign government and not their own government. You said Germany, that might be one of the only right answers. In Germany, you can't criticize the state of Israel either. This is an embarrassment. This is an embarrassment. We have a foreign lobby that has installed hundreds, a supermajority of Zionists into our Congress. They don't reflect the attitudes of their constituents or the American people. They've been installed to help carry out this genocide, to maintain support for the apartheid state of Israel in this country.
Here's the young man's channel.
All to blame on the way our campaign finance works in this country, where lobbyists can pour unlimited amounts of money into candidates and give them massive pools of dark money that the public has no idea about. So they're beholden to these corporate interests, these interests of foreign governments like Israel, and not your interests because you're not giving them as much money. It has been over a decade already since
So there it is, all right? Okay? And that's Guy Christensen, okay? There's his channel. And he's right. Welcome to the United States of Israel. And that's exactly what's going on. All right. Meanwhile, you're building up all this disrespect of the law. Is Judah is being roused up, and on top of Judah being roused up, you're steamrolling fast toward the great insurrection, which is written of in the book of 2nd Ezra. All right. So, it's like we've been telling you all this time. A lot of these things you're hearing, Great Millstone been telling you this for decades now on the internet. Now it's here. Okay? It's here. And, and it's funny how people are still trying to make plans about 5 and 10 years from now and all that. America doesn't have 5, 10 years. You don't have 5 to 10 years. If you think that this can last that long, that they won't start firing missiles at each other, you're out of your damn mind. All right, we're on the verge of 2nd Ezra 15th chapter. So, all right, so I'm gonna play one last video because I have for part 1 here, and then finish with some scriptures. All right, it's because the scriptures I actually had on hand, I didn't even get to. These were all the ones that just, that just came to the top of my head while the videos were playing. I wrote down some scriptures, all right, that I wanted to read. So, and I haven't even got to them yet. So, that's that one. Yeah, I still got, oh wow. Yeah, we got a lot to go through. So we're going to go through this one first. This one. All right. Yeah, because this is the longest one. So we'll do this one now. We'll finish out with this one, and then we'll hit the others for part 2 and maybe even a part 3, because I really want to touch on all these videos. So here we go.
No, because it's not complicated. It's not complicated at all. If they can fast track Alligator Alcatraz, they can help your broke ass live a better quality life in America. If they can fast track Alligator Alcatraz, they can, help the fucking homeless people in America. Universal health care sounds like something that's awfully fucking possible if they can fast track Alligator fucking Alcatraz. If they can try to increase the ICE budget to over $40 billion, they can help your broke ass stop living paycheck to paycheck. Wake the fuck up. What the fuck do white supremacists need a $40 billion budget for immigration services? What the fuck are you talking about? You think it's about some South Americans? We already know it's not about the motherfucking criminals. They're going after the people that not only did it the legal way, but you mean to tell me that ICE needs their budget increased to 40 fucking billion? They want to deport the people that aren't white. They want to deport the people that aren't white. They want to deport the people that aren't white. They want to.
Now he said that I got a lamb back. Mawa. All right. It's not MAGA. It's Mawa. Make America white all over. Mawa. Make America white all over. This is what they're trying to do.
White. When they say this is the white man's country, they mean it quite fucking literally. Wake the fuck up. That's their end goal. That's their mecca. That's their dream. Oh, I don't like you. This is the white man's country. This is the white man's haven. Give a fuck about your legal status, your citizenship, where the fuck you were born. I don't care. Get on that plane and get out of the white man's country. That's what they fucking want. Alligator Alcatraz. Where are they going to run to but on a plane? It's surrounded by alligators, according to Caroline Levitt.
Just open the
and that video
gates.
of DeSantis showing Fox News around, and he's so fucking happy about it. He fucks up so many times. He says, oh yeah, over here, this is where they can have legal counsel if they have rights to do so. If they have rights, if they have rights, if they have rights. Every human has fucking rights, you weird bitch. He also messed up when he said, oh yeah, over here we have stuff for staff, like food and water and showers. That's just for the staff? DeSantis, that's just for the staff. You have this massive deportation facility that's actually a concentration camp on American soil. And you can't even fucking hide your hatred and fucked up plans enough to where you fuck up and on camera, you quite literally say, and over here, we have things for the staff, like showers. I don't want there to be a modern day Holocaust on American soil. And I hope that enough people are seeing this shit to wake the fuck up. There are white supremacists calling the shot, modern day Nazis, Stephen fucking Miller.
100%.
I already talked about how all three branches have fallen. And now the minorities and the people they dislike and the people they disagree with them, are on the chopping block, in between the crosshairs, whatever you want to call it. This hasn't been some ha-ha shit for years. And now they're back and stronger than fucking ever. This is like oddly on par with the fucking Infinity Saga in the timeline. When Thanos snapped his fingers the first time, they didn't go back in time immediately. 5 years passed. When Donald won the first time and then Joe Biden took over, we got 4 years of peace after having to deal with him for 4 years. But now he's back, stronger, and we have to deal with this for 4 years minimum. They aren't going to impeach him. And then we hopefully have some type of a comeback in 2028. And it's most likely going to take a decade minimum to undo all the bullshit they're doing right now. Him winning this election changed the trajectory of so many lives for decades, and I don't even know if it's going to be repairable at this point.
Look, the men of the Lord told you, all right, starting with Apostle Tahar, okay? He's the first person I heard say it, well, I can recall hearing saying it, is that Trump is going to be the one to usher in this system. And he is. This is Nero. He's gonna burn down Rome and blame it on the Israelites. And now what's happening is Judah is getting riled up, very riled up, and it's gonna cause some problems. As a matter of fact, I think I'll play one more video, and then we'll read 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter, and close out part 1.
I have a constitutional right, and it is time to fight back. Yep, you heard it. It is time
See, but that's the problem. Jake is relying on the Constitution. And Esau's not going to honor it, especially when you use it in a way to defend yourself better than they do. I'm living proof to that. I proved that in court so well that they're trying to keep my, my particular personal battle out of court because they have no defense against it. So they just try to keep it out of there and drag it on. They do not honor the Constitution when you use it to defend yourself, and especially if you're right. Okay, because it goes back to one of the first scriptures I read when he said, "Let Salakia, let our strength be the law of justice, not the law itself."
Talk about deportation. I want everyone to stop calling it deportation, because it is not deportation, it is kidnapping. Let's call it what it is. Let's go ahead and admit to the fact that we're not giving anybody due process. You are kidnapping fathers from their families. You are kidnapping mothers from their children.
And you're putting them on planes and dropping them out the bottom of it. So not cages.
Criminals. For what? For a misdemeanor? For a misdemeanor? When was the last time you saw a citizen locked up in a maximum security facility for fishing without a license? Because that's all it is. The same legal category as a traffic violation. But you turn it into a SWAT-style takedown in front of children in schools, in churches, and in homes. That's not law enforcement. That's a state-sponsored terror. Let me remind you of what the Constitution says. We, the people.
And see, what Jake doesn't realize is that when the Constitution was written, it wasn't meant for your brown ass. And Esau lets you know that when you try to use it against them. All right? It's just like the guy in the last video said. Okay? The three branches of government, all right, are shitting on the Constitution. Especially when it tries to apply to using it for you brown folk. All right? The Constitution was actually, the first FUBU for us, by us, minus your brown ass.
Doesn't say not we the citizens. It says not we the privilege, or it says we the people. That means anyone on American soil is guaranteed due process, the right to a fair hearing and equal protection under the law.
That is not true. It should be, but it isn't.
But instead, ICE plays judge, jury, and executioner.
Yep.
You don't give people a trial. You give them a bus to get on. You don't let them speak to an attorney. You throw them in a detention center with no windows, no rights, no voice, no food, and no water. This isn't justice. This isn't freedom. This is kidnapping under the disguise of paperwork. Let's call it what it is. You disappear people without a trial. You tear families apart.
All right. Let me grab the scripture and we'll probably finish that video in part 2. All right. He's getting a bit fiery. He said, and Judah is definitely getting riled up. And this thing is about to pop off, man. Not to mention that, there's been 4 hangings of so-called black men and a couple Hispanics that they haven't really been talking about much across America. So he's really emboldened these Edomites for their make America white all over. All right. So this is 2 Ezra 15 and 14. And it reads, "Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands." Modern day sword is an actual, firearm. But there will actually be stabbing and cutting each other as well. And they're going to be fighting any way that they can. Hammers, butcher knives, screwdrivers, sledgehammers, whatever they can get their hands on, bats. "For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another, and they shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power." So they're going to disregard the so-called law. The law is disregarding the law. They're not following the three branches of government. ICE and different law enforcement agencies are just are doing whatever the hell they want. That scripture that says, someone can put it on the comment board, as the ruler is, so are the people. So your president and his staff are disregarding the law. What do you think the law under them is going to do? They're going to disregard the law too. All right. Verse 17, "And a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, for because of their pride the city shall be troubled, houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. And a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation." All right. So not only is it going to be racial, political, and class wars going on, you're also going to have the poor people and the suffering people attacking each other for food and water. All right, because there's going to be no food, no water, no resources. So you're going to have the people that's trying to fight to restore, the law of the land. You're going to have the people fighting to enforce the new way of living, without the law of the land. You got the people for the Constitution, the people against it. And then you're going to have the people stuck in between that are just trying to survive. That is Jacob's trouble. And if the Lord is not with you, you will die out of it. And it's going to get so bad that the Lord is going to send down Michael. And all this takes place in the latter days, which is where we are. All right. So we're here. The MOTB is ready to go. Banks are collapsing and crashing. The dollar's crashing. It's all happening. So, if you don't want to believe, that's on you. So with that, I'm going to give all praises, all honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakaha, Kodash, Kwam, Yasharala, Abba, Abba. See you in the lesson 2. Shalom.